Hello everyone, John the Nerd with No Job here with the next episode of a nerdy take on, the next episode of The Last of Us. Now I know what you're thinking. The first episode was certainly lengthy, but it was needed to cover everything, and so the second episode will probably be shorter, but don't worry, What? What do you mean I'm supposed to be talking about The Last of Us? Alright, fine. Thankfully, the previous paragraph works well for The Last of Us as well. The first episode clocked in at just over 80 minutes, but the second episode is more the standard HBO length of just over 50. And it does pick up right after that signature shot at the Leaning Tower of Boston in a stormy skyline. This is your last warning for spoilers on The Last of Us Episode 2, Infected. The drama, the intrigue. Ellie is infected. The tension. Will Joel and Tess continue their contract or put her down right now? I mean, we'll get to that eventually, but first, let's go to Jakarta, Indonesia. What do you mean you weren't super glued to that radio message from the beginning of the last episode? What, you weren't paying attention? Come on, do you even go on the internet? Anyway, we're going to continue onwards. We start our zombie apocalypse second episode with a frantic scene of police going through the city. And they stop for lunch. What? Oh! They stop to find the scientist lady, who looks super guilty. What did she do? Why does she look so scared of them? Oh, no, wait, they want her help. Okay. So they rush her to the secret government lab that looks an awful lot like my chemistry lab for when I was in grade 11. Look at it. It's only slightly cleaner and the teacher is slightly less creepy. But wait. There's more. She's going into a sterile room. There's a naked woman lying on the table. Now HBO shows their involvement. Oh, wait, no. She's doing an autopsy and an investigation because cordyceps has never been found in humans before. In seriousness, this really does help support the flower theory that I discussed in the previous episode, and it seems Reddit has hit the nail on the head. Boy, that's disconcerting. Link in the description for the Reddit post. Now, we catch up with Scientist Lady in an office. She tells the general straight up that there is no way to save the infected, no way to stop the potentially infected. No way to keep this quiet. She recommends the general bomb this city. Take no chances and kill everyone, because there's no other way to stop this new breed of cordyceps. And then asks to go be alone with her family in these final hours. Wait a second. A country going to huge extremes to try and keep a horrible pandemic under control? I have seen this before, I swear. Okay, now we're back to the story in the post-apocalypse. We catch up with Ellie as she wakes up to find Joel and Tess watching her. They're extremely suspicious of her alleged immunity. And we get a tense conversation where she desperately tries to convince them, and slowly, they seem to relent. She leaves for a moment, and we get the answer to a question that, quite frankly, we've been asking for years. What do survivors use for toilet paper? The answer is apparently magazines. I don't know, that sounds uncomfortable to me, and after 20 years, would we still have magazines? Do we have that many magazines now to do that for 20 years? Damn, that seems really... We get a reveal that Joel broke his hand while pummeling the soldier at the end of the last episode. And he mutters that it's just a hairline, and it will heal quickly. I have never broken my hand, and maybe Joel is just significantly tougher than I am, but I imagine he would have trouble using that hand for a bit. Can you imagine? Tries to lift something heavy, just drops it on one of the other two. That would be hysterical. Alright, after some more boring conversation, our trio departs. Joel easily moves that heavy but doesn't look that heavy bookcase. Wait, didn't he broke his hand? Could he The episode flashes forward to the trio walking along a dilapidated highway. Man, they really didn't have to CGI Boston all that much. It looks suitably destroyed, considering they specifically mentioned that was the city that it was, and that it was bombed to contain the infection. A small difference from the game, where the bombing was used as a way to protect the safe zones. The show implies it had a darker reason, and that it didn't work out so good. Alright, the trio continue to walk and talk and bond. In the background, we see a mildly destroyed Boston skyline. A faraway scream of an infected person interrupts the trio's bonding. The trio stops. Ellie displays some true fear. Oh, wait. No, that's the wrong screenshot. Nope, not that one. Guys, where'd you put the screenshot? Oh, never mind. I found it. Now again, we get to a big difference from the game. The trio is not fleeing a massive response of soldiers after their post-scan altercation, so they can kind of leisurely stroll and arrive at the hotel so they can check their path forward for infected. This allows us to see the first moments of bonding between Joel and Ellie, and more importantly, we finally see Joel give someone a lift up to a higher ledge. Like, come on, this is a video game adaptation. We need to see Joel open his bag and craft stuff, or use the gun table to make some visible changes, and other times just rub his gun so it fires faster. When are we going to see the funny faces he makes when he dies and gets sent back to a checkpoint? As we make our way through this hotel, we eventually reach the top and see that, uh-oh, the Safeway is not so safe no more. It's covered in infected people. Goodness, that's a lot of infected people. At this time, we're introduced to a new system that was not present in the games. A network where the cordyceps grows underground and forms a massive network for the infected to locate new victims. It's explained that it could be triggered up to a mile away, and all of the cordyceps victims in range will come flooding towards you. So, realistically, in an effort probably to make the TV show not last 50 episodes just doing this, so that we can realistically get through the first game in the first season, we skip most of the rooftop scenes and go straight to the museum. But I'm going to include screenshots now because I can. It sure seems safe now that we're at the museum. All the mold stuff is very dry and dead, and thank goodness we don't have any zombies in this zombie TV show. Oh, wait. That's a dead guy, isn't it? Oh. Alright. Just like in school, it's quiet time, everybody. I was admittedly quite drawn in by this scene, so I tried not to make too much noise myself. I didn't want to be the one to get them in trouble. And thankfully, like all museums, this one takes the initiative for me. I didn't want to read any of those plaques anyway. And it's all going so well, right up until our trio reaches the top floor, wherein, of course, naturally, because it's a museum and underfunded, what do you mean it's the post-apocalypse? No. The ceiling collapses. That's not good. But at least no one was injured. Hey, did anyone notice any... What was that? What was that noise? Thankfully, The Last of Us does not take so long to reveal the monsters, unlike so many other horror projects. We're introduced to a pair of clickers in this episode. Clickers are infected who have been under the sway of the cordyceps to the point where fungal growths have covered their eyes and made them blind, so they use sounds like clicks and screams to locate their victims, giving them their name. And we aren't showing them right away, don't worry. They still understand suspense in this show, and the trio are trying to sneak away. Now this is the part where Joel mouths to Ellie, "Lord, that sounds weird to say." The clickers cannot see, but will instead hear them, as I just explained to you. And Ellie is naturally scared, as she should be. Let me see. Nope. Nope. Wait. Nope. Oh, there it is. But then, like Ethan Winters in Resident Evil Village, starts to have an asthma attack because she's scared. I mean... yeah. Alright, mean-spirited meme aside. Naturally, fear wins out. Joel and Tess are forced to shoot at the clickers with guns, and I gotta say again here, maybe I'm being unfair. Aiming the game was hard, but I think TV Joel needs to learn how to turn on aim assist, because it wasn't this hard to shoot him in the head. And I do praise the actors for playing the clickers. They move and sound just like their game counterparts, and I really can't tell if they're CGI'd up, or if they're done up with makeup or what, because they look fantastically scary. The clickers have succeeded in shattering our trio's cohesion. We follow Joel as he continues to make his way through the room, trying to keep as quiet as possible and succeeding. Get it? 'Cause he's a man. Now this is based off a level from the game where Joel is faced off in a very similar room, with glass cases and museum crap all around him. And he's facing off against 3 clickers. But the clicker has now wandered off, and he realizes it's on Ellie's trail. So he makes his way over to her, and they start to escape. Ah, he stepped on glass, didn't he? Now when did clickers get this buff? Can anyone tell me? They were never able to leap over tables before. This seems unfair. Joel manages to put the first clicker down, but now he's out of ammo again. The second one is coming, and wham! Tess hits it in the head with a hatchet. Now it is deaf and blind. It stumbles around a bit while Joel picks up an AR and finishes off the second. Now, again, wait a second. I don't have the AR when I'm playing in the game. This is unfair. Come on, show. Don't give him endgame weapons. Alright, but now it's time for a breath of fresh air as the trio make their way to the rooftop. They take stock, and sadly, it appears Ellie has been bitten again, but she says she feels better than the others. But darn it! Tess has hurt her ankle, and Joel gives her some tape to secure it. It's another lovely rooftop shot, and just like the game, the goal of the Senate building feels tantalizingly close, yet so far away. We have a few more quiet moments as they progress through the street before arriving at their destination. Oh hey look, the Fireflies, of course they're dead. Why wouldn't they be? We head inside and find the Fireflies massacred by themselves. Oh, a few of them got infected. Yeah, okay. Now Tess starts searching frantically for info, any info, on where they were going to take Ellie, even asking her himself. But Ellie just mutters something about out west, and naturally, Joel wants to go home and finds her insistence on the topic out of character and strange. Tess and Joel start to talk more about the situation when one of the infected Fireflies starts moving again, and Joel is quick to put him down. If only he could have done that sooner. But this one is unfortunately able to trigger the Cordyceps network, and see that new thing they did? It's important, it's relevant. They started it right in the same episode. You see what they did? Now, as a natural response, just what any of us would do in this situation, Tess starts pouring the gas barrels that the Fireflies left. And, once again, just being a man, Joel asks her what on earth is she doing? I know he uses harsher language, but if I swear too much, YouTube doesn't like it. It doesn't make any sense, but then it does. She reveals... Well, reveals is a bit of a strong way to word it. Ellie guesses that she's infected, and then Tess shows her hands. And then, just like that thing from the game, she says their luck had to run out sooner or later, right? It's like the game now, guys. Don't you like it? It's like the game. And so our episode ends, with Ellie and Joel running out from the state building to find Frank and Bill to continue their quest to take Ellie out west. A fireball consumes the interior of the building as the infected swarm inside. Tess's last act of defiance to a world that wanted to kill her is to kill herself. Now, again, for the most part, this was a good episode. And while I do miss the moments from the game where they would, fight and evade the soldiers, I understand why these sequences would be taken out. Because at once they would be time-consuming and probably very expensive to film. They would also blur the line of the show from a horror base to an action. The Last of Us is supposed to be more of a survival horror game than, an outright action game. Additionally, the creators have explained in a podcast that they felt there was no reason for Fedra to be out there at this point. They policed the buffer zone, but they wouldn't really go beyond that into the open world. In the game, this is dealt with as they're pursuing the trio, or at least that's how it felt to me. And with the lack of the soldier sections, why would the soldiers be chasing them? Because the whole point was they were chasing them because they murdered their friends, and now they didn't, so... It also helps give some payoff for the introduction of this new Cordyceps network, and I hope we see this mechanic again later in the infected world. Or it will just feel like it was added for the sake of being different again. That's kind of the thinking we get normally with adaptations. Why not just do this thing different? Because why not? Also, I've just got to level with you. Why did she use a lighter? I know it makes the moment feel tense, but why couldn't she use, I don't know, one of the grenades? I've been told it takes a fair amount of force to pull a pin from a grenade, but it probably wouldn't be as difficult as that lighter was in that situation. Man, it's almost like this is a T-pin. And finally, and just what is probably the creepiest thing I have seen in recent TV, is as she's trying to spring her trap, Tess is faced with an infected that's far overgrown with the Cordyceps, and they kiss. Well, this does fit the new spread of the fungus, but it's just creepy to watch poor Tess open-mouth kiss this zombie while trying to light the explosives. What makes it creepier is the way the showrunners have talked about it, and I'll leave a link to one of the articles covering that in the description, but the scene is just uncomfortable, and I really wish spores were still a thing. Overall, the momentum from the first episode is kept up in the second, and it continues to hit the main story strides. Additionally, there's still the hints of the changes to Joel's character in the show that I don't like, that make him seem more immoral, more passive, and more kind of like that dog that we always see in the junkyards in movies that has to have an owner, but as soon as it breaks that somehow iron chain, it's going to become the most violent thing in the world. I will continue with Withhold Judgment until the season is over, but I see worrying signs that my violent Joel theory is going to continue to hold merit and become reality. And now, I keep teasing it, but this is my final thought, I promise. I worry that Joel and Ellie will not be able to bond like they did in the game, and to me, if they aren't able to form that bond, it will change the story for the worse. To me, what makes The Last of Us special is that central bond between Joel and Ellie, influencing and bettering one another, helping each other survive, but also remain human. And without it, I worry this would just become another zombie show, and that would be exceedingly disappointing for me. But what are your thoughts? Did this episode keep up the momentum for you? Let me know how you feel down below in the comments. If my video was entertaining to you, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. I've been John the Nerd with No Job, and have a great day.